King Charles breaks his silence after his cancer diagnosis as Prince William thanks everyone for their kindness. Prince Harry makes his surprise appearance in Las Vegas as he is awarded a substantial settlement against the Mirror newspapers. Plus, Gareth Russell reveals why he believes the king has been so forthcoming with his health.
So I think it also marks a just generally more open stage with the royal family, and also a destigmatization of the ideas behind illness and those kind of things.
We've got that plus so much more in today's Royally Us. Hey everyone, I'm Christina and that's Christine, and welcome to another big week of royal news. The king has spoken, he's stepped out, and he seems to be in good spirits.
Yeah, I think we've got lots of reassurance this week about the king's health, both from seeing the king, but also from lots of his family.
Definitely. So like I said, the king spoke out for the first time since his cancer diagnosis, and he thanked everybody for sending thoughtful words of encouragement to him in the wake of his health battle. He said in a statement released by Buckingham Palace, "I would like to express my most heartfelt thanks for the many messages of support and good wishes I have received in recent days. As all those who have been affected by cancer will know, such kind thoughts are the greatest comfort and encouragement." He added that if one good thing has come from this, it's that he's glad opening up about his cancer diagnosis has been able to help educate people all over the world about the disease, and that he's more appreciative than ever of everything healthcare workers do. So yeah, I think this was a great statement. He did step out for church, so he seems, like I said, looking good and in good spirits. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this within our conversation with Gareth in a little bit. But it is so great that he's been so forthcoming about his health, and we're not being kept in the dark about what's going on.
I think this is ultimately reassuring to the public. I think that he's been quite open with things, but also that he's gone up to Sandringham. We've seen him at church, so he is up and about and feeling active. We know that the Prince and Princess of Wales are up at their house up at Sandringham as well. So hopefully there's a little bit of family time to bring him comfort, because he is putting a very brave face. I think he probably does feel okay right now, as well as can be expected. But it is reassuring for the public to see that he is still on his feet. He's up and about. And that public reassurance, I think, is so important to them right now.
Definitely. All right. Well, the Prince of Wales gave a speech at London's Air Ambulance charity gala dinner, and that was his first day back on royal duty in nearly a month due to everything going on within the family. And he said that he said, "We really appreciate everyone's kindness." He also at the event specifically appealed to a special guest at the event, Tom Cruise. He said, "I should also take this opportunity to give a mention to our fellow pilot, Tom Cruise. Tom, huge thanks for supporting us tonight. And Tom, if you wouldn't mind not borrowing either of the new helicopters for the next Mission Impossible, it would be appreciated. We have all seen on our screens that, how can I put it? You seem to have a different take on normal wear and tear to the rest of us. It's not the kind that buffs out." So definitely a fun event. We know that they have a history together and have been seen at multiple events. So not the first time they met, but like you mentioned before, it seems like Kate has joined her family in Sandringham post-surgery, and a source told the Daily Mail that Catherine is recovering well, and she is looking forward to a change of scene and will be able to take it easy in Norfolk while the children let off steam with William. So yeah, it seems like, business as usual when it comes to the royal family. Prince William is attending events, rubbing elbows with Tom Cruise, and Kate is still taking it easy.
Yeah, I think it is a good sign that she was well enough to travel up to Sandringham. It's probably a huge sigh of relief that they don't have to rush around for the school run and the rugby games. And I'm sure Prince William might, as he normally does, take some time during the children's school break just to spend time with the family. It's probably much needed after the crazy hectic last few weeks. It was great to see William out and about. I mean, just in really, really good form. Like we said, talking to his friendship with Tom Cruise is so unusual, but very funny. And but yeah, they're trying to get back to a sense of normalcy. That's what's been so important to them the last couple of weeks. But I imagine it's been really difficult.
Definitely. Well, Queen Camilla also stepped out recently, and that was her first time since the palace opened up about King Charles. And it was at the musical evening supporting local charities at Salisbury Cathedral. And she said of the king that he is doing extremely well under the circumstances. He is very touched by all of the letters and messages the public have been sending from everywhere. That's very cheering. So it is, like we said, time and time again, it's just a lot of reassurance to the public that everybody is going to be okay, doing well, and moving along.
Yeah, an interesting part of this engagement is that the weather was so horrendous on this day that the Queen's helicopter was grounded for traveling up for this visit. And the Queen was determined to get there because obviously there's been so many events cancelled recently. She did not want to see another cancelled royal engagement. Right. So she drove, I think it was 4 hours in the pouring rain, or she was driven, I should say. She's not the one behind the wheel to still undertake this royal engagement because it was just so important to her and just to the royal family to keep on and carry on as much as possible.
Definitely. Yeah, you got to get, like you said, so many engagements have been shuffled around and canceled. So it is nice to make the appearance, and quite the effort she went to make sure that she was there. I love it.
Long drive.
All right. Well,
very pleasant. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, let's break down the royal rules, and we're going to revisit more of our conversation with royal historian Gareth Russell. And we've had this conversation about why the royal family has decided to be so forthcoming with their health issues, and it's something that we haven't seen in the past, but also why Kate maybe has decided to keep hers private. So take a look. Why do you think that they are taking a different approach this time around?
Part of it is generational. I think if you look back, Elizabeth II was very much off the Second World War generation, and it was a much more privacy prizing generation, and that is part of it. And today we're recording this in the anniversary of George VI's death, Charles III's grandfather. It was known that he was not well, but really even members of the family weren't told. That's just how cancer was processed. To give you an idea of how much it's changed in 72 years, those attitudes. I also think Charles III is generally a more open person. Now, there have been cases before with the royals where they've been a little bit more open. His grandmother, later in her life, was open about her hip replacement and about, there were several instances where she nearly choked and had to be hospitalized on a fishbone. And so that they discussed, but it tended more to be emergencies rather than conditions that could be perceived as terminal. So I think it also marks a just generally more open stage with the royal family, and also a destigmatization of the ideas behind illness and those kind of things. To go back to that previous point of that massive upsurge of people accessing Cancer UK Society's services. So in that sense, I think it's partly because the king is just more inclined towards openness, and also because it does have, you can clearly see a tangible positive impact for people in the country to have more frank and honest discussions in public life about illness.
I think that that's really the most important thing that King Charles is doing here, is raising awareness. And interestingly, we haven't seen that same sort of openness and opportunity for awareness from the Princess of Wales. Could you speak to that maybe? Because I find that really interesting in that she has an enormous platform where she could be raising awareness, but she's choosing to retain a lot of privacy on this.
So part of that, there is a discussion here in the UK about which one is right, and you can make a case that both are. So simply because one patient is comfortable discussing their health in a certain way does not mean all patients should be. Just stepping back from the royal aspect of things for a moment, patient privacy is still a really important and fundamental right. Also, on a more speculative level, I would say they do have very different kinds of illnesses and therefore very different kinds of treatment. So there's much more to suggest that the Princess of Wales was undergoing quite serious surgery, as she mentioned in her statement, and that there was an unexpected element to it. She was very apologetic in that statement to people whose events she would have to cancel on attending. And in that sense, sometimes when you are a patient, even if you have the ability to raise awareness, you are still maybe processing some of this yourself. Maybe you want to take it at your own timetable. So I think we sometimes expect the royals to do so, and not just the royals. We sometimes expect public figures and all royals to do everything in a second to ease internet speculation. And they still, however, do have a right to process things personally. So the King and the Princess of Wales are two different kinds of patients, but it's also two different kinds of illness.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, to each their own. If she wants to keep her health private, that is her business, but it is nice that we are in the know about what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone has a right to privacy and how much they reveal. It's just like anything, like social media. It's really a personal choice.
Right, definitely. All right, let's spill some royalty. And Prince Harry made a surprise appearance at the NFL Honors Ceremony on February 8th. He said, "I really love how you stole rugby from us and you made it your own. Instead of passing it backwards, passing it forward. Why not wear pads and a helmet? Of course, have an offense and a defense. That makes sense. And why not take a breather every 15 seconds? He added, "And you know what? Instead of a 10-month season, let's just make it 18 weeks. Genius." He said, "All kidding aside, what you do off the field is truly remarkable. You're a role model to millions in the way you carry yourself and the way you give back." He was on hand at the award ceremony to present the coveted Walter Payton Man of the Year award to Pittsburgh Steelers defensive lineman Cameron Hayward. So this was definitely a big surprise. It was, nice to see. A lot of people were kind of confused about why Prince Harry was there, but this has to do with giving back. This has to do with charity work. So this is why he was on hand. And Hayward was very excited about Prince Harry being there. He gave him a big hug before beginning his speech, and he said, "Oh man, Prince freaking Harry, man, I'm just shocked. That's Prince Harry." Harry suddenly laughed off his starstruck moment. But yeah, it does make sense why he was there.
Yeah, it was an interesting, he's there as a philanthropist. I know so many people know him. We associated with him as a royal or, some of the other things, but he's trying to represent himself as a philanthropist. They're really hoping to push the Archwell Foundation, into a larger spotlight. So that's sort of, I know a lot of people, like you said, were really confused as to why he was there, but it's all about charity work and helping people and promoting these amazing charitable organizations that, the other nominees for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award represent. So I thought his speech was very funny, and they all seemed to think it was really cool that he was there.
Right. Definitely. And he and Meghan have a big week this week. They are heading to Canada for the opening events of the Invictus Games because they are going to be held there. So definitely a lot brewing between Meghan and Harry within the last few weeks.
Yeah, again, hopefully we start to see more and more of their work with Invictus, with their, with philanthropic projects and less drama. We know that Prince Harry we'll talk about it just the next story, but I'm hoping we'll see more charity works out of him.
Yes, definitely. And well, he's got some more money in his pocket because his lawyer said that he received a substantial settlement against Mirror Group newspapers, saying publishers will pay around $500,000 for Harry's legal fees. Now, in December, he won over $180,000 after the presiding judge, Justice Fancourt, ruled that 15 of 33 articles at the center of Harry's claim published by MGN were the product of phone hacking of his mobile phone or the mobile phones of his associates or the product of other unlawful information gathering. The publishing group made an agreement to settle the remaining parts of his claim against the newspaper company, which publishes the Daily Mirror, the Sunday Mirror, and the People newspaper. So I'm sure he's happy to put this behind him. He won his settlement, and I feel like, well, hopefully we can stop talking about this one because I feel like this is dragged out for a long time. He did drop some of the other cases in this ongoing saga, so maybe this was kind of it.
Yeah, and that's exactly, I sort of jumped the script a minute ago, but now that this case has been settled, he's dropped another case. He's tying up these loose ends because I think he probably did realize that these lawsuits and these court cases were just drudging up old drama and really taking the narrative away from him. Now I'm hoping we can sort of put these to one side or sort of close the book on this and focus on the Archwell Foundation work, the Invictus Games work, really focusing on those charity works that they want to be known for so badly.
No, definitely. Yeah. And I think he proved his point that, he was right and he was able to get the settlement that he so wanted. I don't think that this was about money. I think that this was proving himself right, and he did. All right, well, let's wrap it up with our pint-sized palace. And August Brooksbank celebrated his 3rd birthday. Of course, he is the eldest son of Princess Eugenie and Jack Brooksbank, and he was born in February of 2021. And if you were wondering, he is the 13th in line to the throne. So don't hold out hope for August, but he's still going to live a pretty great life. She marked his birthday with a post on Instagram saying, "Happy 3rd birthday to our dearest Augie, forever a force of nature and forever giggling with you." She shared 3 photographs of several moments from her in August's life. I love these fun moments behind the scenes of everyday royal life. And, they're just like us, celebrating their kids' 3rd birthdays with a carousel of photos.
I know. It was very normal and down to earth. The photos were really sweet. He looked like any other little boy. even though he's 13th in line to the British throne, it was very, very sweet to see. I love how much I think Princess Eugenie is doing a good job of sort of giving us glimpses into their life, sometimes showing photos of the children, but, not oversharing, but also sort of satiating our desire to see these cute little kids.
Definitely. I love it. Keep them coming. We love to see it. All right. Well, that is it for this week's episode of Royally Us. Lots of big news that we got through. And I'm sure it's going to continue on to next week. So keep commenting, keep subscribing, and we'll see you next week. For more news content and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.